Larry Simms, as I said, was a great Marylander. His official name was Lawrence Simms Sr., and he passed away Thursday. A father of 3 children, 5 stepchildren, 12 grandchildren, 3 great-grandchildren, and host of people up and down the Chesapeake Bay. If you were involved in cleaning up the bay or making sure that the people who live alongside the bay had jobs, you knew Larry Simms. He was a true champion. And for me, he was a wonderful advisor, again, on how we could clean up the bay, but ensure that our watermen could continue to work on the bay. We've been plagued over the last several years with the decline in our species, both our crabs and our oysters. And if you wanted to save them, it also meant rules and regs. Well, if you know our watermen, they're kind of like the Wild West guys who want to ride the range. They don't like rules and regs. They're not rules and regs kind of guys. But they also knew that we had to be able to save what we did. So for decades, Larry himself saw the bay's declining health, poor water quality, fewer fish and crabs, barren oyster reefs. And then he worked with me to help the watermen navigate through these tough environmental factors, tough economies, and stiff regulations. He did not have an easy job, but I tell you, he approached it with such tenacity, such persistence, and such a way where he spoke with humility about what God had given us, this spectacular Chesapeake Bay, and yet how we had to preserve it and the jobs. He became an unlikely spokesman because he said, I'm not much for words, you know me, but we did know him, and he did speak eloquently for these men and women. I worked very hard with the watermen and how we could help them clean up the bay with Senator Cardin and our members of the House delegation, and to work with our watermen and to work with our scientists studying this so that we could make sure we could preserve the livelihoods and heritage of the bay and the men who worked on it. Fortunately, working together, we were able to do many wonderful things together. But we could only do it because Larry Simms was such a great advocate. We're going to miss him. I just can't believe that Larry won't be with us anymore. When I first came to the Senate now, over 20-some years ago, Larry was one of the first to reach out to me, to help me learn the ways of the watermen, learn what they were up against, tough weather, harsh working conditions, escalating fuel prices, because our men and women go out on those waters using boats that consume diesel oil. And again, the decline in species. But working together, we were able to accomplish a lot. So I just want to say to his family, thank you for lending Larry to us, because he spent many times at government meetings, regulatory hearings, sitting with me at Fisherman's Inn, or pulling the watermen together for a round table so we could talk things over to find that sensible center to preserve their jobs and yet have that smart science and those smart regs. And we want to thank Larry for all of the time that he put in, taking a very green senator, and green I don't mean only in the environmental sense, but as a new senator, and helping me learn the ways of the people, because we wanted to preserve their way of life. And it's just a sad day. It's a sad day for all of us. So when Memorial Day comes and the restaurants open and piles of Maryland crabs start coming in, surf with the surf crabs and the steam crabs and so on, I just want to say this, Larry, wherever you are, whenever I pound a crab claw, I'll be thinking of you and all that you meant in terms of what we did to be able to create jobs, clean up the environment, and be able to keep our way of life going on the Chesapeake Bay.